We always talk about like the steps to reach our goals,
Yeah.
whether it's, finally getting in shape or that dream job.
Right.
But I feel like we never really talk about the mental side of it all,
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of times we focus so much on the strategies and the how-tos that we forget about the foundation, the thing that underpins all of it.
The mindset.
Precisely.
So that's what we are going to dive into today.
This is going to be a deep dive into how our beliefs and attitudes can really make or break our success.
Yeah, and we are not just talking about like positive thinking here.
No, no, no.
This goes way deeper.
We are talking about the underlying assumptions we hold about ourselves and our abilities.
Like whether we believe we can actually grow and change or if we are kind of stuck the way we are.
Exactly. And the exciting part is this is not something predetermined.
Right. It's not like our DNA or something.
Exactly. It's malleable.
Yeah.
It's something we can actually shift and shape.
Which means we have way more control over our outcomes than we might think.
Absolutely is empowering stuff.
So let's unpack this a bit more. So when we talk about mindset, what exactly are we talking about?
Well, think of it as the lens through which you view the world, the filter through which you process your experiences.
Okay, so like if something doesn't go my way, my mindset is going to determine whether I see it as a complete failure or as a learning opportunity.
Exactly. It's your default setting for dealing with challenges, setbacks, opportunities even.
So like the internal operating system of our brains, basically.
I like that analogy.
So where does this idea of mindset come from? Like who started talking about this stuff?
Well, the real pioneer in this field is Carol Dweck.
Okay, I've heard that name.
She's a Stanford psychologist, and her research really revolutionized our understanding of mindset.
So what did she find?
Well, her work basically boils down to two core mindsets, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset.
Okay, let's break those down. So fixed mindset. First, what's that all about?
So someone with a fixed mindset believes that their qualities, like their intelligence, their talents, are basically set in stone.
Okay, so it's like you are born with a certain amount of ability, and that's it. You can't really change it.
Precisely. And this belief can be really limiting, because if you think your abilities are fixed, why bother putting in the effort to grow or improve?
Right. It's like, why even try if you're convinced you're going to hit a wall?
Exactly. And people with this mindset, they tend to shy away from challenges.
Uh-huh.
They avoid situations where they might fail because failure to them is a reflection of their inherent limitations.
It's like it threatens their whole sense of self.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And another interesting thing about the fixed mindset is that people with this mindset often feel threatened by the success of others.
Really?
Yeah, it's like they see a finite pie of talent. And if someone else is getting a bigger slice, it means there's less for them.
So it's like a zero-sum game?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's the fixed mindset. Now,
Yeah.
what about the growth mindset? What does that look like?
Well, a growth mindset is the opposite. It's the belief that your abilities are not fixed. They can be developed through dedication, hard work, learning.
So it's not about where you start. It's about your willingness to grow and evolve.
Exactly. People with a growth mindset, they embrace challenges. They see them as opportunities to learn and expand their abilities.
So failure isn't seen as like a personal defeat. It's just part of the process.
Precisely. It's feedback. It's information that helps you adjust your approach and try again.
And I bet people with this mindset are also more likely to be inspired by the success of others.
Absolutely. They see it as proof that growth is possible, that if someone else can achieve something, they can too, with enough effort.
This is making me think about all those times I've told myself I'm just not good at something, like drawing or public speaking. And maybe it's not that I lack some inherent talent.
Right.
Maybe it's that I just haven't put in the time and effort to develop those skills.
That's a great example.
Mm-hmm.
And the interesting thing is there's actual science that supports this idea of growth and change.
Oh, really?
Yeah, have you heard of neuroplasticity?
Vaguely. It has something to do with the brain, right?
It does. It basically refers to the brain's ability to change and adapt throughout our lives.
So our brains aren't like static. They can actually rewire themselves.
Exactly. Every time we learn something new, every time we practice a skill, we are forming new neural connections.
Wow. So our brains are constantly evolving.
They are, which means we have the capacity to learn and grow far more than we might realize.
That's so cool. Okay, so we know our brains can change, but how do we actually shift from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset? Like, what are some practical steps we can take?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
Well, the first step, and this might sound counterintuitive, is to embrace challenges.
Wait, what?
Seriously.
I know it sounds crazy, especially if you are used to avoiding things that make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's my specialty.
But here's the thing. Growth happens outside of our comfort zones.
Okay, I'm listening.
Think of it like working out. You don't get stronger by lifting the same weight over and over again.
Right, you have to challenge your muscles. Exactly. And it's the same with our brains. When we take on challenges, we are essentially forcing our brains to adapt and grow.
So if I've been putting off learning that new software at work because it seems intimidating,
That's a perfect example. Instead of avoiding it, lean into the challenge. View it as an opportunity to stretch your abilities.
and even if I don't master it right away, I'm still building those neural pathways.
Precisely. And with each attempt, you're getting closer to mastery.
I like that. Okay, so embrace challenges. What's the next step?
The next step is to focus on the process, not just the outcome.
Okay, that makes sense. We can get so caught up in the end goal that we forget to enjoy the journey.
Exactly. And when we do that, we miss out on all the valuable lessons and small victories that happen along the way.
Right, it's like when you were training for a marathon, you don't just focus on crossing the finish line, you celebrate each mile you complete.
Absolutely. And those small wins, they help keep you motivated
Mhm.
and they reinforce the idea that progress is happening even if you haven't reached your ultimate goal yet.
Plus, it makes the whole experience more enjoyable.
It's exactly.
Okay, so embrace challenges, focus on the process. What else?
This one is crucial. View failure as feedback.
Oh, this is a big one. I think a lot of people, including myself, struggle with this.
It's natural to fear failure. But here's the thing. Failure is an inevitable part of the learning process.
It is.
It's not the opposite of success. It's often a necessary step on the path to success.
So instead of seeing failure as a sign that we are not good enough,
We should see it as an opportunity to learn and grow.
like a course correction,
Exactly, someone with a growth mindset. They don't get discouraged by setbacks, they get curious.
they ask themselves, what can I learn from this? How can I do better next time?
Precisely. They see failure as data, as information that helps them refine their approach.
Okay, so we've talked about embracing challenges, focusing on the process, and viewing failure as feedback. Are there any other strategies that can help us cultivate a growth mindset?
Well, there's one more that's really important, and it has to do with our environment.
Our environment. What do you mean?
Well, think about the people you surround yourself with. Do they encourage your growth? Do they challenge you to step outside of your comfort zone?
Or do they reinforce those fixed mindset beliefs?
Exactly. The people we spend time with can have a huge impact on our mindset.
That makes sense. If you are constantly around people who say things like, oh, you are either born with it or you are not.
It's going to be hard to develop a growth mindset.
Right, it's like being surrounded by negativity, it just drags you down.
Exactly. But the opposite is also true. If you surround yourself with people who embrace challenges, who see failure as an opportunity to learn.
Their mindset can rub off on you.
Absolutely. So choose your company wisely.
This has been so insightful. I feel like I'm already starting to shift my perspective.
That's great to hear.
But I have to ask, what's like one really tangible step our listeners can take today to start cultivating a growth mindset?
Okay, here's a challenge for you listening. Think of one area in your life where you tend to hold a fixed mindset.
Okay, so like maybe I've always told myself I'm not a math person.
Exactly. Or maybe you avoid public speaking because you believe you are just not good at it.
Got it.
Now, here's the challenge. Choose to approach that area with a growth mindset instead of saying, I'm not good at this.
I could say I'm not good at this yet, but I'm willing to learn.
Exactly. And then take one small action step towards that goal.
Okay, so maybe I could sign up for an online math course or volunteer to give a presentation at work.
Precisely, even small steps can make a big difference over time.
So just to recap, we've explored the incredible power of mindset, how it shapes our responses to challenges, our willingness to grow, and ultimately our potential for success.
We've learned about the two core mindsets, fixed and growth, and how those beliefs can either limit us or empower us.
We've also delved into the science of neuroplasticity, which shows us that our brains are capable of change and adaptation throughout our lives.
And we've discussed practical strategies for cultivating a growth mindset, such as embracing challenges, focusing on the process, viewing failure as feedback, and surrounding ourselves with the right people.
It's been a deep dive into the psychology of achievement.
And the key takeaway here is that success is not just about talent or luck. It's about mindset.
By adopting a growth mindset, we can unlock our potential and achieve things we never thought possible.
So as you go about your day, I encourage you to pay attention to your thoughts. Notice when those fixed mindset beliefs creep in and make a conscious effort to shift your perspective.
Remember, growth is a journey, not a destination. And every step you take, every challenge you embrace, brings you closer to your goals.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into mindset and success.
We'll see you next time.